I'm just putting you away for a minute. You're still there. So this is our landing page that we went through before, and then we put together the four tiles that we talked about: the staff portal, student portal, family, and governance. Uh, and if you click on the staff portal, yeah. So the first page is just our website, and it's just a link from our website straight to our team site. So this is one of our team sites, if you like, as the pop-up that you get there. So as we said, about obviously it's announcements down the side here, which are staff announcements talking about things that students can't do, what's on, those sorts of things, and then a basic calendar that runs our school year, if you like. And then lots of different things across the top for us. So we've got this does our registers. This helps us with our data. This is a departmental site that we talked about where staff put their documents. Yeah. You can have wikis if you want to have wikis. Yeah. We don't use wikis anymore. We just use the. It depends. It depends on what you're trying to do. Yes, it can be, but we use discussions. So if I show you one of our class sites, bear with me just a second. Oh, sorry, my email's going mad now. Let me get rid of those. Let's go. I'm going to go to our class sites. I'll open it in a different tab so that we can keep going back and forwards to it. So let's do. I'm going to find some of our younger ones. Let me think. Let's try this one. Right, so this one, see here, they have discussions. And she creates discussions. So let's go into there, for example. This is all about silent movies. And you can see that you've got replies from students here. So they've been asked a question. And Mercury, Venus, and so we do ours by planets for differentiation. So Mercury, Venus have got some easier questions, then Mars, Jupiter, and then Saturn, Neptune, which are the sort of higher end students. Yes, that's right. Yeah, and then you can see the answers coming from the students all the way down here. So this is like a wiki, if you like. This is just a discussion, but it's kept inside Office 365. Um, I think in this, yeah. So they've said what they're answering from, um, and obviously though, depending on how bright they are, some put it forward. Now you could use tagging in there, so you could use the meta tagging. So you could tell them that if you're Mercury Venus, you've got to put hashtag Mercury or hashtag Venus before you start. Um, I mean, it's one way that we, yeah, yeah. So that's one of the ways that we use discussions. We used to have wikis built in, but we decided we'd take them away because staff just weren't using them. Um, uh, yeah, yeah. I think one of the reasons was it was extra. It was outside of what we had as our environment because it was an extra something coming in, um, and we showed the staff the discussion board, and they liked it. They liked the discussion board, and they liked the fact that they knew through everything we were doing that the provisioning it was only their group that could see it. So it helped with our bit of our e-safety as well in saying actually it sits in the Office 365 stack if you like. So we know what they're getting, we know what they're doing. So that was one of the reasons, and it makes the sites easier to build as well. So that was the reason. Yeah, yeah, sure, sure, sure. And so that's one of the reasons why we did that in short, and it made life, just so much easier. And then they've still got their announcements down the side, as you would expect. So, all the things they've got going on are going on up and down here in this particular class site. Yeah, yeah. So this is one site. If we go to another one from here, bear with me one second. It's just me opening them up in different pages so that we can see them. Let's choose Alpha L1, for example. So you can see that this one's maybe got a little bit of different styling because the teacher's done some work themselves on it. Um, but if you compare the two side by side, you've got the discussion. Yeah, yeah. So they have the same stuff in what they want to do. Everybody has the same set of links down the left-hand side here. Has the same look and feel in terms of the badge. So if we pop back to the other one, it's the same. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So then even if I go, I'll do another one from a different. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So these are the people in front of the class every day. Let's choose a geography one, for example. So completely different age group, but you see the same stuff. So they don't use their discussions nearly as much. They're probably doing it in a OneNote, but they've got some announcements going down the side of there for different things that they're doing. So it's a little bit more sparse, which isn't as good, but they have that same layout as everybody else. Yep, that's right. Yeah, so we do all the building for them. Yep, yep, yep. Sure. Yeah, yeah, definitely. And so we do ours. Everything is done centrally by us, so that we manage all the hard work for the staff. So I've got a team of 10 of us in total that look after everything to do with IT in the whole school. And so we decide on a way we want things to look, with staff having a little bit of ownership and able to change things like this one. So they put their class on there, and what have you. Um, so we say to them, this is what it will look like. What you do with it after that is up to you to a certain extent. Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. And in that way, you keep like a corporate feel, don't you? So we're a bit like a company at the end of the day. We want to make sure that similar. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think that's really important. And in that way, you're able to know what is going on and how things should be doing. So the head teacher, for example, he knows if he goes to a class site, he knows where to look for discussions. So that visibility and that sort of checking mechanism for senior teachers and senior leaders is always there. So you're not having to look and find all the time. Visibility is what we talk about a lot. So yeah, yeah, sure, sure. And I think that's really important. So we've gone down that route of doing that. Now there are other things that are out there now, like Classroom, for example. Microsoft Classroom. Well, we haven't worked with it, so we've used it and fed back some information. So for us, it doesn't quite surface things in the same way as we like here on my screen now, but it does do it in other ways. So there are, you can through using School Data Sync, which Microsoft have produced now, have all your sites built for you based on the data that you have. So that that's a good thing. That makes things much quicker. And I think if you're starting from scratch, it is a pretty good idea to use that. And I see where it fits in hugely. So if you're starting from scratch, it will make your groups for you. It will provision the OneNotes. Um, you can have discussions on it and conversations. Have you seen Classroom? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. 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 Um, so we did some work for them back in April. So we did some really early work on looking at it for them, talking about different things. We used to help them set it up in the UK so they knew what they were looking for and how it mapped, if you like. Um, so it is something that's really powerful, and it's something we don't have. We don't have the turn it in mechanism. When you hand a piece of work in and get it date stamped. We don't have that in the same way. We have it here. We call it our Dropbox, although it's not a Dropbox. Um, and you can see that this is highlighted by students. So this student's handed in 10 pieces of work here. You can see when it was handed in and modified and when it was created. It's not, no, it's not Dropbox, it's Microsoft. Yeah, it's a term. Yeah, yeah, where students can drop things for staff to see. I think we're going to have to change it, but there we go. Um, yeah, and so we divide it up like that. So any piece of work can be seen. If a parent comes in, you can go to their class, you can find the work that they've uploaded, and you can see when their work sort of happened when they've done different things. So she's uploaded something yesterday for that piece of work. Yeah, yeah. And so, there's simple things like having shared documents. So if you want to share things with your students, we put it in there. Um, yeah, that's right. Yeah. And then if you have two members of staff teaching the same class, but at different times, that bit is just for staff documents. So they can share their planning for this class. Yes. Yeah. So as a teacher, because I'm a teacher, I can see all of that. If you're a student, you will just so if I'm admin, for example, I would just see that. I wouldn't see anybody else's work. So we did, yeah, we did, but Microsoft changed their licensing, so we don't anymore. So we actually get the students to log in for the parents at home. Um, yeah, yeah, which has been okay actually. Um, And then obviously site contents is down here. So because we give the staff that little bit of ability to change some things, um, they can go into here and change things. So see, yeah. So see, you can see the wiki stuff is still there. So if you want to add a wiki to this site, you can do so. But we don't use it now. I think it's just part of that. They can find whatever they like, and I think it's really important that staff have a bit of ownership, so they can add a new app if they want to, um, and change the way that they do things slightly. I think is good for them. They can edit their links across the top. They've got the ability to add pages if they want to, um, and it allows where we are now, sort of being 5 6 years in to this, they're happy to have a bit of ownership. Some of them will change it, some will keep it exactly as we produce it, which is like that. So that slight change we don't mind. Yeah. No, slightly different to the staff sites. So these are the staff sites, and the department sites we have under here. So let's look at one. Let's do this one, for example. So these department sites have a slightly different makeup, in that they have lots of links going across the top. Now we don't recreate these every year. So these are ongoing sites that we've got. So at some point we might have to think about taking these to the new uh, team sites, if you like, 'cause they're still built. They're still in pre-release at the moment, so we're just holding on until we see what they actually look like, how much we can change them, what we might do with them. You can see some of the RSS feeds have broken down the bottom here, but we can fix those. And then it is still similar though. You always have a calendar. You've always got your discussions. They've just added a widget in here, which is a Twitter widget, which is all about maths. Um, and you still have your announcements. So you've still got those three basic features, even in a staff site. So keeps it the same. And then that's right. Yeah. 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 Yeah, that's true. That's true. So all of our site creation now, we have a company that does it for us. So we used to have 10 people spending 6 weeks of what is the school summer holiday creating everything. We now use a company called Salamander Soft, who within 24 hours pull the information out of our student management system where the timetables sit and all that sort of stuff. They pull it out of there and they create the class sites, these sites, within 24 hours. So it's a small cost, but it's a big saving. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, and so yeah, these are quite rich because they'll have schemes of work, bits of data, resources, all sorts of bits and bobs that they use it for. In terms of the content. Yeah, I think they can be. So you'll have resources here that you'll be able to find here, and you'll also be able to find them on uh, the Key Stage 4 or 3 resources, and I'll show you that in a minute, but also on class sites. So here's an area where we say to staff, right, put everything, um, so that we can see what's going on. And then let me just go to here for you. I just need, yeah, yes. So they've just set theirs up a slightly different way. Yeah, um, that's right. So for the subject sites, we tend to put things across the top for them, so that they know what they're looking for. Let me just go to here for a sec. So in terms of overlap, you get overlap when you go to things like this for the students. Yeah. So here you can see, and we don't use that calendar. I don't know why we put a calendar on this site, to be honest. We need to make more of these links across the top. So maths, which is where we just were, they have a resources site that students can go and visit. So they can go and visit here. They've got past papers. They've got past papers. So that's generally what they've put up there. All of these past papers and everything else will be on this site as well. So that you put it in one place for all the staff to look at. and then we put it into another place for all the students to be able to get to. Yeah. So these yeah, yeah. I mean, if we're migrating from one thing to another, we do the work. If it's for them, then we ask them to do the work. So, for example, let's have a look at this one. Um, yeah, sure. Yeah. So business studies, for example, split theirs up into PowerPoints, Word files, specification assignments, and sort of coursework, audio, video, interactive. So they've kind of spent a bit of time splitting theirs up so that if people know what they're looking for, they can go to it. And these are available to all students, so all students can find all of these things and do what they need to do. Oh, the subjects. Yeah, 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 yeah. At the moment, they're all there. I mean, we could limit the list to just whatever the user needs to see, if we needed to. Um, we haven't done because I don't think there's anything wrong with a student going to look at something to do with geography, trying to learn something. So we tend to keep it as broad as we can. Yeah. Okay. So we've got maths there. Oh, that's my email's going again. Sorry. I'm just going back to where we were. I'm trying to get rid of the little button up there. That's better. It's gone now. So yeah, we're in the maths site. We've done looking at those for the same sort of things, and then you've got business there. So we've kind of been through most of those things. From the back end, do you want to have a look at what it looks like from the admin side of things, or are you okay with that? Okay. 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 Just let this load. It's not going very quickly. Let's try again. There we go. Yeah. So it's quite. I think understand. Yeah, sure. So it's quite a good overview. So it shows you all the things that are going on. Um, no, so if you have Office 365 and you're an admin user, yeah, it's account based. Yeah. So, if you have admin rights, you would see this. So obviously you can see our peaks and troughs of things that we do, and the troughs are generally the weekends. Yeah. Um, you can see if there's any incidents, domains, all those sorts of things, and then you have all the centers down the side here. And the main one, obviously, that we've talked about is the SharePoint one, which is just going to. Yeah. No, but you can block access very quickly to an account, which I think is important. So here you can see our sort of SharePoint structure. So these are all the sites that we have, and there's 3 pages of them. Um, so you can see that you can add new sites, you can add a new private site collection, public websites. You can add anything that you need, to be honest, which is fine. So um, in terms of users, so if I just go back to the admin portal here, you've got users here. You can do active users. I'll just search for myself because it's better that way. Yeah, so this is everybody. So if I look at me, for example, that's me. I'm there, obviously straight away. Sign-in's allowed, but if you need to change something or stop somebody, you just block it. I won't do that now because it'll cut us off. But it also, it shows any aliases that I have, email addresses that are linked to me, what licenses I have, what groups I'm a member of. So you can see. I mean, yeah, and then I've got, I'm a member of 30, so there's another 26 or so down there. Installs. So I think it's alphabetical. A, B, C, D. I think I would guess. You can for each user you can have a look at where they've installed Office. So with Office 365 you get the free download of 5 full versions. So you could have a look at where it is. It shows you what role you've got. So I'm a global admin in my school. Um, the Obviously my display name. You can then have a look at mail settings. So you can set additional mailbox permissions so other people can look at it, forwarding, replies. Um, you can gain access to my mailbox if you needed to there. Also, OneDrive. Um, so I'm using 2.16% of my 1 terabyte worth there. And then I can sign somebody out if I really need to. So it will immediately sign you out. Um, yes, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, and you don't have to be an Office 365 user to do that. But it works. So it works quite well. So I use Skype for Business all the time for things like this. So it works really well. And then depending on the size of your school, they also do Skype broadcast now, where you can broadcast up to over 2,000 people at one time with one call. So it works quite well. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they're kind of introducing that depending on what size you are and what license you've got. Yeah, it is there if you have the E5 license. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we do as well. We don't have the E5 license at the moment. So, um, so you can see. Sorry. So obviously you can then see things of what's happening around as well. So it's quite good. Is there anything else you'd like to look at? Mm. I know we made it inside the school. We decided what we wanted and how we wanted things to look, and that we needed consistency. Um, so we wanted everything to be consistent for ease of use. We wanted it to work for students. We wanted it to work for staff, so that everybody knew that consistency and that visibility and findability, as you said, is really important because it helps to make things more efficient and effective. Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think that if you don't do that, it can become quite a difficult animal to manage if you don't have those sort of constraints or restraints on how you might do things. So I think, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and what we had there, we used that came largely from our old SharePoint environment. So when we had it on premise, so when we had servers and things, so we took all that and migrated it across and then adapted it slightly. But the underpinning was from the old SharePoint. So that's how we had the adoption. Yeah. No. Sure. Yeah. Well, you won't have any joined up thinking if you do it like that. So your group should really come from your Active Directory. So your user directory, and each of the groups should be made from there so that it makes everything join. So if the student does that subject, they go into that group, and the automation of that is important. Um, Otherwise, if a student moves from one group to another, the teachers have to do everything manually. Whereas if the automation is in place, it does it for you. That's right. Yeah. No, that's correct. That's correct. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we use groups for all of ours now. Yeah. 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 And dictate it that way, and then have the groups have the sites made from the groups, but know which structure, know what you want in it. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Is that okay? Great. Well, I'm glad of that. No problem. Sure. That's fine, Mark. No problem. Okay. All right. Okay. Speak to you soon. You too. Bye bye.